What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Just trying to get some stuff figured out here. What's up? Welcome back. Right? It's been a minute since we've done just a good old-fashioned CRT work. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I got some questions already about the CRT. Mark, what's up? It's not 2:30 in the morning for you. Okay, well, good. All right, well, we're gonna let things kind of roll here for a second. I'm gonna give you guys a brief synopsis of where I'm at here with the Sony BVM. That's right, throwback to the good old days of the black and white. What's up, Steve? Glender, Stu, Jesus, Gregory, welcome everybody. 90s, yes, baby. They can't have it. I actually probably see when would I have bought this? Wouldn't have been the 90s. This is like a this is like a 2003 purchase for a costume contest. So I got second place dressed as Hollywood Hogan. I got beat by the Golden Girls. I remember that. I won like $400. The Golden Girls won $1,000. I was pretty pissed because I thought I should have won. You know? Anyway. How's the background music? Too loud? I'm going to probably crank that stuff down a little bit. And we're going to go over to the jazz here, right? Because that's going to make more sense for wrestling than jazz. So we're going to get off this like synth wave track that they've been trying to get me to groove to. We're gonna get into some style in here. That's right, that's a little better. There we go. Switch it over. Welcome back. So first off, I have to deal with this microphone stand today. I was filming a video and my whole arm that I have over here just collapsed right on my face and broke in half. So for the time being, we're having to go with the old school mic stand, like singing stand-up style. So hopefully I won't have to bust any of that out and do some karaoke today. What's up, Belmont? Thank you for being here, my friend. Yeah, so we're gonna let me get this off my head. So I'm gonna try to remember to stay close to the microphone. That's true. I did get the bulk of the prize money. It was on a boat. So if you live in Nashville, Tennessee, you can get on this boat. It's called the General Jackson. And you can go up and down the river on Halloween night, and there's usually a big costume party, and it's like a dance party on the top level roof of this. It's meant to be like one of those old school steamboats from the 19th century. Where you're it's got those big chopping, I don't know any terms about these old boat engines. Anyway, it's an old school experience, but you get up there with your friends, you go to a costume party. They have like a costume contest at the end. And one year I got beat by the Golden Girls dressed as Hollywood Hogan. It was a pretty good costume. What's up, Edward? Welcome in. Yeah, welcome in, everybody. If you don't mind, do me a favor and hit that like button. I know it's cheesy, but it does help here on this platform. Let everybody know that we're live today because it's been a few weeks. And hopefully I can get into a better situation of doing more live shows. I've been working a lot on the shop here, but one thing I'm still having to do is run a physical cable from my PC here all the way back to my property's main building. And since it's springtime now, I'm going to bury that cable and make it permanent so that, in the future things will be good. I won't have to worry about that, and I can just flip on the system and go live without having to manually install the cable every time or run it. So, what else is going on? Well, I do have a big announcement. Steve, if you're still here, my friend, and anybody else, I do believe it's looking like I'll be going to Retro World this year. Retro World Expo. I do have to get some finalized details with the show's owner, but he's reached out and asked me to be there. So I should have another CRT experience live at Retro World Expo, and that will be around September 14th. So if that is 5 months of preparation for you. If you can make it to Retro World Expo in the middle of September on a Saturday, it's in Hartford, Connecticut. I will have a CRT performance, I guess you could call it there. I will make sure it's different than last year's for anybody that shows up and is thinking, oh, well, and maybe it's just the same old thing now. I'll make sure it's different. I always do. So anyway, that will be happening for sure this year. The other thing sitting right in front of me is the topic of the day. It's this is part of a Sony BVM, right? And look, I had some questions. The thumbnail I used for this video, that's just a stock footage of a BVM that I have in my archives. I didn't have any loaded of this BVM. This BVM has 15,000 hours, but I will follow up one day on that big one that has 100 and something, 150,000, because I have it here. My plan for that one, the one with the thumbnail, is to hook it up to the CRT tester and show you what's going on, because it's got a tube that has 150,000 hours on it. So that's one thing. So we're going to do look at this one that I'm servicing so far. I'll catch you up to speed on what I've done here. So I originally got a complaint about this BVM or a request for testing on it. And so first thing I had to do was run a pretty rigorous test of the BVM. And again, it's a BVM D20, and this is like the master level monitor. So this is like a master control monitor. This one is from 2003, March 2003. And it's not really been serviced from what I can tell at all. So the first thing I did was I set it up and I ran it almost an entire day to see if it had any issues. The customer had complained to me that the screen would randomly, after 45 minutes, start changing hue, like colors, to a red hue. And I tried to simulate that here in the shop. I couldn't get it to recreate it. And what that tells me is that I relayed the information that the test came out good, and that the client, it's an issue with their setup in their house, most likely, or their shop, or wherever they're using this BVM. You can get these BVMs will be very susceptible to interference from outside stuff, power supplies, RF signals, all kinds of things can interfere with it. And before you think there's a problem with your monitor, it's best to try to isolate the CRT, run some good tests, and make sure it's not just an issue with something in your actual surroundings, like your environment, that's causing your problems. All right, we're going to get to work here. So this is what I did. I went through this board. I pulled it. This is the power supply for this unit. These come in boards like this and packages nicely like this. And I went through and put my meters, my testing meters, on all the capacitors on here. The ones that I have black mark checked with red marks are original capacitors that are below 0.1 ohms on the testing meter. So they're in great shape. And honestly, it's hard for me to even source new capacitors that are better than these and have better ohms readings and still read better on a meter than these ones. So I don't even replace them, especially on this BVM, unless, someone's really insistent upon that, but I don't believe in doing that, at least not yet. Because again, this one is only 22 years old. So wow, that is a lot of time. But these parts, I mean, you look in here and this looks, this is like such high quality build that it looks new. And so I've checked those capacitors and all those ones checked out. Now there are some down here that I've already replaced. Everything else that doesn't have the red mark was replaced or pulled and tested, and then I've replaced some of them. So what I've done is I've gone through here and after I test the capacitor on the board and it showed bad, I pulled it from circuit, recorded what it was, and then I physically tested it with a different meter to give me the resistance of each one of these parts. And as you can see, all these are I mean, they're higher on those resistance. So I literally tested every single one of the capacitors I pulled, and the highest resistance ones would have probably been these 100 UFs that were up around almost 3. Let's see, that's pretty high for 100 UF to have a 3 ohm capacitor, this one on a power supply. So I just recorded all that data, and I've installed about half of these with new capacitors. So that's the step I'm on. We're going to go ahead and start installing the other capacitors on the rest of this kit. There's about 18 to go, but this one was a pretty thorough restoration since it's a BVM, and I've recorded all that capacitor information. So like what that tells me, well, this monitor still worked fine, but there are parts in here that I can change out to keep it running well, better for the most part. So I want to just go in and we're going to replace all these. This is the probably more in-depth or thorough restoration. Most of the time when I get a BVM or another CRT, not a BVM, a PVM or a other CRT, I just replace the capacitors. I don't actually go in a lot of times and check the resistance of all of them when I pull them, if it's a documented cap kit. So the total number of capacitors that were removed would have been 27. And so I've replaced 9 and I've got 18 to go. I'm going to heat up my Patco soldering iron. I'm trying to get this tip down in here because I'm using this really small tip. It wants to slide all over when I try to put it in the spot. But that's our goal today. We're going to sit there. Yeah, if you have an issue with your surroundings, it's hard to pinpoint what's causing it and how to fix it, but it's better to know that. Unfortunately, some of these CRTs are so they could show so much stuff in analog video that they will just show the problem on the screen instead of saying like a warning issue that says, oh, we can't display this because there's a problem with your signal. It will sometimes just show you a bad signal coming from a device. So the ones that it's quite interesting, the ones that actually read the worst, like they had taken the most abuse on this capacitor list, let's see, they're over they're in this area. So this is kind of near transformers, heatsink, right in that little quadrant. The back, in between, you know, all these pieces. Check out how much stuff we have right there. So you have to be careful when you pull those caps, but there's a lot of diodes right there and transistors, surface mount stuff that you don't want to pop loose. Got to be careful working on these kind of boards. So let's just go ahead. We're going to work our way through this list and see what number capacitor are we on. Down here in my list, 107. 107. We'll get down in here closer. And this is the one we're replacing. Let me turn that spotlight off. maybe it'll make it a little easier for you to see. That's the one we're going for right down in there, 107. And then we'll do 114. Those are both 50 volt, 47 microfarad. And the replacement I'll be choosing, let's see what we've got here. I have a couple of options, but these are the ones I'm going to go with. Yeah, Scott, it depends. Scott, you're asking if is 35 to 40,000 hours considered high for a BVM. According to Sony, that would be the time when you would want to replace a tube for sure. I think they would recommend like 30,000 hours of use, according to their stuff. It's going to really depend on the size. Okay, so 14-inch tubes can go a lot longer without troubles, as opposed to a larger tube. So the larger the tube gets, the lower the hours threshold is going to be. It's just that way. So if it's a larger CRT and it says it has 40,000 hours of use, then yeah, you're going to want to look at it pretty closely and make sure that there's no shorts in the tube if it's a 20-inch BVM. Okay? Because what tends to happen is those tubes will short out and then they'll start flashing colors on you. And there's no fix if it shorts out in some manners. All right, so I'm not even looking at the right spot here. I got lost for a second. We're over 107 and 114. Let me see. Oh, yeah, there. So we're going up in this section. That's right. Got a question, and I lost my train of thought there for a second. Get this one installed here. Did I show you? So this is the replacement capacitor I'm using. Make sure it's the right one. 105 degrees there. It's 5047. And this one is a Panasonic. Low ripple current capacitor. 105 degrees. And that's what I'll be using for this one. And I'll use a mix of that Panasonic, Nishikon, and Rubicon caps for this power supply. Both these are the same values. We'll get those down in there. I like to do a few capacitors at once. I don't like to just do one at a time, usually. So we'll get both of those passed. Then we've got the legs here, and I just tend to bend these down just to hold the capacitor in place for now. There we go. There's one. We got another one up in this area. Let's see what we've got for that one. That is C107. So, no, that's not right. That's the one we just changed. It's hard to read this board sometimes. Let's flip it over and see if we get a better view. It's right here. C117. See? 117. Which is a 10, it was a 10 volt 1000 microfarad. I don't carry that one in stock. What I have for replacement is going to be this 16 volt 1000 Nishikon VZM series. Whoops, man, there we go. Let's see what else it says here. 105 degrees Celsius right there. Steve, yeah, if you want to do it in sections, if you're gonna recap something, so the nice thing about this BVM is these cards pull out easily, and you could swap them, or you can service one at a time, and it's kind of easy to get the thing out, serviced, and then back in the CRT. Where, as with the, and this system's a little awkward to get down in there. Whereas with an old television, there might be a lot of them in there, and it's harder to do it sectionally like this. Like, you can't just go service the power supply. Or you could, but then you'd be like putting it back together after that if it's all one board. But it's really best to get in there even when there's 100 caps. You know, at least half of them probably have nothing to do with power or deflection. So you can concentrate on just worrying about the power supply capacitors and the deflection capacitors. If you can figure out which are for which. And then you can ignore kind of a lot of the others. Like for audio, Arcade Ages, that's nice, 5,500 hours. I had one with about that many hours on it. And I think I had a bunch of them. I sold them all. The one I've got now is the one in the thumbnail that that does have a ton of hours on it. I found a tube donor, but I think it's going to cost me like $1,000 just for the tube on another BVM, and then I'll just have to take the tube out of a regular 20-inch F-series BVM and swap it into the D20 with 100,000 hours, 140,000 hours. And but that's going to cost me $1,000 to get an old used tube, because I have to just find a scrapped monitor. So it's like, oh, so it's not cheap or anything, but it's hard to find those tubes that are good, that are D series level. All right, we've got these 3 capacitors in, and let me just double check. Yep, that's the rest of this sheet on page 1. So we'll just install these, and then we can move on. Let's see if I can get you a little closer. I don't know. I don't want to get too. I don't want to risk it too much getting. Oh, let me lift this up, set that on the heat sink, get you a nice close view. We'll get in here and we'll solder these. Maybe see how adding a little light there helps. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. So let's go in here. Got this extremely tiny wand today. Look at that. Fits right on the pad. Let that heat up. Give it the old Midas touch here. There we go. Leg 1 is soldered. This is how I usually do this. So I'll do that leg, snip it. I like to have the leg straight. I know it's a pet peeve, pointless pet peeve. But I want to have those legs straight if I need to, or if somebody needs to come in here in another 15 years and replace these capacitors that I'm replacing now. It's going to be easier for them to do that. Then I'll come back here usually one more time, reflow solder on there. Especially the super, like this board is so thick, and it has a lot of large tracks on it and traces that dissipate the heat, and you know, you got to make sure the solder goes all the way through the board. Kind of makes that higher quality. That point there. Okay, there we go. Number 1, and we'll go and do another one. I know this is what is it? Tedious. Normally I'd probably move at about twice this pace. But you know, I want to make sure that you guys can see me work here. Now you can tell, like this one over here I'm soldering. Look at the size of these plates. Same thing on this leg. So you do have to, like, I run my temperature up a little higher. It's at 800 right now. Fahrenheit on my tip here for my soldering iron. But at the same time, you don't want to burn a board. So you have to be very careful when you're going higher temperatures. And like I said, you can tell that this is a very tiny... Let me show. I'll show you comparison-wise. This wand... compared to another. Like the Hacko tool I use has multiple wand combinations, so you can see like this is the more normal style wand. I'm right here that I'm wiggling, and you can see that's the size of the tip. And then right here I've got the kind of half that size wand right here on the left side of your screen that's out of focus, but the one I've been using, it's quite a bit smaller. See that? Much smaller. So I actually like using that, but it does have its advantages and disadvantages. One disadvantage is when you're working on a board like this, the heat takes more heat, higher heat to work with it. Also, you have to be very careful because that tip is so tiny down here on this wand that when I use it, if I push too hard against anything, it could even be the steel wool pad or the brass wool pad to clean it, it will bend that wand. It'll bend that tip. And so they're more fragile. It's very easy to bend that tip all over the place. And if you're too hard, you'll bend it and snap it and break it. All right, get this one over here. Should be kind of it, right? This is the third one. And then we'll turn it around and just double check what we just did. There we go. Set my wand down. Everything out of the way. This look nice. Now I will come back here and clean this after I've finished everything with some isopropyl alcohol and an old toothbrush. So this is our capacitors we've just installed. Just going to double check to make sure that they are installed in the right direction. So they are the correct values. And you can see one of the reasons I was telling you, kind of if you look down in here where the pencil head, I'll aim with the pencil head. You see this part? I like to have this weld, look as good as I can get it. Make sure that, that solder goes all the way through the top cap leg. Right there. And you don't leave that on there, that wand on there long enough or have the temperature right. It won't flow all the way to the other side. So those are good. So when they're good, I put down a mark on them and move on to the next bunch, the next Brady bunch. And we can turn the page on the cap kit. And is everybody still with me here? Let's see. Got all these replaced. I put marks next to them. Yes. All right. Now we can move on to page 2. Catch up on the chat. Don't have Lewis here with me today. I probably should check and see what he was doing. Maybe he'll DM me. But here's page 2. I had a terrible, the video where I went to the guy's house, Jeff's, and I got his CRTs that he donated that were the Sonys. And you saw where I'd fixed the one at the end of that video, the wood grain Sony. And this, what I'm referring to is my video from like 3 weeks ago. And I started working last week on the other Sony that he donated, which I was hoping would be good, and unfortunately I'm hitting a dead end. I think the flyback is fried on it. It's literally the first time I've had a shorted flyback on a Sony that I'm still gonna make a video because it's crazy how much like troubleshooting I did to get to that point, because I don't have an actual flyback testing device, but I really don't believe I would, you know, need one too much because this is such a rare thing. But anyway, I don't know about a future for that one. Right now it's in the graveyard. Because I can't find just a flyback out there for it. Let's see where we're going now. We'll go up to this section that I told you was the hottest, most worn out capacitors. All four of those, they're the same value, 16 volt 100. Yeah, and that was the same kind of thing. So when I just to give you like a perspective thing, this does happen. You get to where, like, on that TV I was working on, I figured out the hot was shorted. Like, there was it was the one with the resistor that had caught fire. So there was a resistor there. I just replaced the resistor on it that was catching fire, and when I wouldn't even power the TV on. I would plug it in and it would immediately start heating up, and if you left it plugged in 3 minutes it would catch fire again. So I knew there was something going on with the power, where the power mains were coming in. Something was shorted that was just sending the wrong high voltage into that resistor, and that kind of limited where the short was going to be, but it limited it where it was the high voltage path that went through multiple boards. So first I thought it was the power supply, but when I disconnected the power supply, nothing was shorted in the power supply itself. It was shorting out on the deflection board, which had the flyback and the hot and a bunch of capacitors on it that were all shorting. So I had to replace all those capacitors, and I replaced the hot, and then I still had everything doing the same exact thing, and it was still testing as shorting until I pulled the flyback out of circuit, and then it would stop shorting. So that told me that by process of eliminating that flyback out, it was not shorting. The hot paths were not shorting to ground, but when I had the flyback installed, it was shorted. So it was a process of elimination, which sucks, but I'm confident that the flyback in that one's blown, but it just sucks because you put in it's a huge investment. I mean, it's literally like shop wise, that's like a $300 investment for me to put into the shop, into that TV, just to find out that it's kind of bunk. So don't worry, it happens to all of us. If you work on these TVs long enough or old devices, you run into a problem where you know, we just don't have the same tools. It's like my CRT tube tester is from the 1970s. All right, enough rambling, old man. So we're going to go with Rubicons. We're going to up our voltage to, let's see if I can get this to focus, baby. 25 UF, or 25 volt 100 UF, 105 degrees. Pretty sure these are going to be like the low ripple current, high tolerance, whatever. High heat resistance. Few thousand hours at 105 degrees. Install all four of these together. Cole's in the studio, but of course he's sleeping. He's on the bunk beds. So that's one of the things I want to do is with the room that I'm in here, I want to drill a hole, which I'm going to do, and and install a camera in the shop next door, kind of up in the corner. So when I work on this stuff and I need to go test it, I can just go next door, pop it in the test, press a button, switch to that camera, and you can see in that room as I'm just... Yeah, right, Steve. It's like working on... It's really like working on this stuff is a lot like working on old cars or old motorcycles. It's very real... similar. And I don't know, man. I've been getting this itch, like... It's kind of a stupid itch, but I've been getting an itch to go buy... I'd really like to buy, like... Man, and I wish I could get it for, like, cheap, like $5,000 or less. I'd like to get a Jeep Wrangler or something similar to that. And I don't really want anything from... I'd really have to have it from the year 2001 or earlier, preferably. Like, I don't want to go after that year. And I really don't care if it needs work. It would be cool to kind of tear apart somewhat and rebuild, right? You get older and you get these, I don't know, desires to do goofy stuff, I guess. What about you guys? Do you have anything like that? You have any similar desires? Maybe your desire is to do the TVs, but also I like to challenge myself with other projects, and I think it would be fun to kind of rebuild a Jeep. And I know that you could see, the good thing about those is you could still get parts for those kind of things. Look at this. Yeah, there's a ring tester. I don't know. Somebody had mentioned that. And then there's also like an actual flyback tester. So let's get in here. These are the kind of difficult points to solder. That's why it's so nice to have this tiny tip. 20 tip. Tiny Tim, the tiny tip. Getting in there. And, you know, perfect. You don't have to worry about knocking against something else. Look at that, right? Even if you have a shaky hand, like I have a little bit of a shaky hand today. Just getting that one side mounted. So we got that done 3 times. This one looks like it's slipped a little bit, about to fall out. Bend this leg back over. Do this one. Boom, there it goes, shifting on me. There we go. I mean, look at this stuff. All these little parts in between there. Don't want to touch them. Don't want to knock them. Don't want to short them. You don't want to do anything like that, trust me. Boy, that would be a bad day. Trim all these legs. Snip the leg. Give myself a little bit of a leg to, you know, have nothing obnoxious. Don't want to have nothing there. There we go. All right. All right. Alrighty, here we go. Now, it would be foolish of me to go back and heat up that other leg. I have to go through and do all the ones I haven't done, and then I need to go fix the others after that, or reflow solder on the other points that are my anchor points that I use to hold the capacitors in place. Because if I went and heated up that one right, the other leg of the same part, it would just fall right through the board as the solder is still molten. There we go. Go over here. All right. It's probably the four most difficult ones you'll have in this spot because of all the other parts. And this is kind of why I don't really recommend servicing a BVM like this on your own unless you have some solder reworkability and skills on, experience under your belt. Under your belt. Get you some experience there. Greenhorn. Just kidding. Here we go. Everything's looking good right there. The right parts. We get the right parts. Yes. Everything's good. Mark those as done. Bing, bang, bong, boom. Okay, got another 16 volt 100. Pretty standard stuff here. No, I know they're actually not. They're pretty affordable, and I'll go down a street that has like these old car dealerships. It's been there for decades, right? Like the Old Town Road that has. Literally these dealerships have had nothing but auto dealerships since probably the 1960s. And there's a bunch of used car sales places, and they are filled with these Jeeps. Just mostly Wranglers from probably early 2000s. It's just people are gobbling up those older 90s vehicles, man. They're the good ones, Just like the TVs, they're becoming harder to find. All right, we got that whole block done. Now we got to move over to a new zone, which is 103. 103. Where are you, 103? Some of these are hidden, like super down in there. See, look at that one, right? That 103 is the next one we're going for, right in the middle of all that mess. We got to get the same capacitors last time down in there, that 25 volt 100. Our Ruby. Man, that one's way down in there. Way down. In the south, the deep south. Ooh. Get in the hole, get in the hole. There we go. Got her down in that hole. With my fat fingers, that's a miracle. Thought I was for sure going to have to get the tweezers. Use my eraser head there. Set her in place. There we go. Right in the center. We're going to do this one by itself since it's so isolated. Since it's a lone capacitor out here. These BVM boards are so well made, though. It's kind of ridiculous, the comparison between this and sometimes even the televisions from the early 2000s Sony made. The solder quality, the board quality, and especially even the capacitor quality, like the parts. I often wonder if it would go like, a lot of these parts, if Sony would ever have an instance where they wouldn't actually be buying kind of like, it's not like you're getting an off-the-shelf capacitor. You might know somebody at a capacitor manufacturer and have an account where you could get, your own specific capacitor engineered and made. And it's like, that's again a reason why it's always hard to just, replace caps with any old caps sometimes on certain devices like this one. I'm just gonna reflow this capacitor right here, because that didn't look like it had the greatest solder still left on it, but we'll just touch it up while we're over there. Okay, it's done. Mark it off the list. And I believe we'll be moving over to this spot where we have quite a few. We have 5 right there. So that's 103 off. We got 104, 202, 207, 212, and 204. Okay. This is the only time you have to be careful because they're all different values. Slightly different values, so you don't want to accidentally put the wrong one in the wrong spot. I'm going to start with the 50 volt 47. Which is C104, right under this transformer. Transformer, more than meets the eye. There we go. Hey, Andre, how's it going? Hey, Fern Dog, thank you. Welcome in. If you swap out, an A with an A series, I don't know. False Gangster. Oh, you just swapped it. If it's still the same A, sorry, I'm like reading up on some of this. If you swap a BVM's boards, like if you have an extra BVM, that's the best way to figure out what board the problem is too. It's to literally take the good boards and throw them into the monitor until you figure out which one is actually acting up. And then you try to service the bad board that you've isolated the problem down to. Or just replace it. What's up? Sergio Steinholm? I'm sorry. I know I probably didn't say that right. I'm going to preemptively admit to that. We'll do that leg flat. We'll iron it back out here in a second. There we go. Now I can just... I can get under there. There's those. And we've got that one installed. Flip her over. So these are the two we just did. This one's really in a tight spot. And I just want to make sure everything looks good on those two. And I'm going to go ahead and mark them down as being good and checked on this side. Let's still see. 100. That's correct. I put the right part in there, even though I just did it. Just want to make sure. You wouldn't believe how many times I like double check my work and find myself installing something incorrectly. You know? Ah, okay. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about the BVMs is, and this was pretty common during this time period because I used to work in an industrial environment that had equipment that was commercial grade equipment. They try to sit there and, you know, box a lot of it out on its own little units. So if you had a problem, you could go send the tech over and within an hour, they could swap in finally a good card and get you back to running. and then they would take the bad card back and either send it to the factory and Sony and let them figure out the fault, or maybe if they were smart enough on their own, they could figure out the fault and replace, you know, whatever would have been like a service bulletin to check out or something. That's why they made it like this, so that you could come into a film studio, anybody who had one of these things, an editing studio, and say, hey, you're having a power issue on your BVM. Okay, let's get you back to rolling as quick as possible. Time was money. You had to rent this equipment, so every second it was out of commission was like thousands of dollars down the road. It's insanity. Because they used to charge, I mean, some of these BVMs would get up to 6 figures back in the early 2000s for a broadcast studio to have. If you had all the equipment that went with it, you were getting close to like 6 figures back then. That's why nobody owned these things a lot of times in Hollywood. You would rent it out to a studio, would rent it out, and that's what would contribute a lot to cost of making movies and stuff, was renting out this kind of equipment to edit a video, which now you can do from your lovely PC at home. C2O, which way are we going here? So this is the one we just did, 104. 202. Down here, 202, bottom one. I mean, it's going to be the same thing kind of with everything. I don't know, you were asking about CRT projectors. It really just depends on your problem, right? You would kind of look at it the same way as a CRT. You're just going to have 3 individual CRTs within a system to make sure are getting the proper things they need to function. 5047, 54.7. Sorry, that's the 50 volts, 4.7 microfarad. Is my my capacitor on 202. I've got a Rubicon here that's the same level as everything else we've been talking about. That's what I'm using. And is another one of these a 50 volt 4.7? Because if so, I'm going to go ahead and get one of these and stick it. No, this is a single capacitor, so we're just going to do it by itself. Okay. And then we've got those 3 up there. That's our next one. We're going to go 207. 207. 50 volt 10. I should have a Nishikon or Rubicon of that too. This is actually a Panasonic. Okay, we're going Panasonic. That's fine. Sounds like somebody's cutting their grass already around here. It's beginning to sound like springtime. You won't be able to hear it, but I can hear it. 212. So we've got both of these done. 212 is a 5047. Man, 5010 is a 204, is a 5010. So we'll just go ahead and take care of that. And the 5047. 547. 50 volt. 47. Here we go. Oh, did my camera froze? Oh, great. Sorry, guys. I didn't even realize it. I don't know when that happened. I apologize. I thought we were doing good today, and wow. Interesting. Now it's just giving me a straight picture. Okay, cool. Let me see what's going on here. I was watching stream last night. I was having trouble with this camera. Deja vu. There we go. Let's see. No. All right. Cool. Well, let's go back to the main camera here. Awesome. Let me see what's going on. Well, that's might help. Plug in the wrong camera. Or the wrong device. There we go. Something tells me it's going to work now. Let's go back. We're going to do we're going to try to bring it back alive. And it's not alive. Cool. Well, that's interesting. Well, we got about an hour in here, and then my camera just died on me, I guess. That's a bummer. Is it back? We getting some... No. I'm not sure. I've never seen it really do that. Turn into like a straight. Nope, there we go. Okay. Now, see, it's not loving its life right now. It's done crapped out on me, folks. It didn't pause. It's this camera. It usually will work if I just reset it, but it may have just literally, I mean, it's quite old. It may have just decided to no longer work. Let me swap it to another USB port, but I don't think it's going to matter. Let's try it one more time. This is a different USB. Let me try another thing too. Make sure it's not... No, it's on all the right settings. We may get it for a little bit. I'm not sure what happened. You know, the problem with a lot of this stuff is it conflicts with USB ports, and there's not... I don't think there's anything that's been more of a ripoff and lie than like modern PC motherboard advertisements. It's a whole different conversation. We might get a little glitching, but we're gonna go through and try to finish this this capacitor job up so we can get off this camera anyway. Because there's not too many left. There's the 4 we've got here, and then there's like, I don't know, 7 more. If I gave it the fond smack, dude, it would just like die completely. I have to control myself to not Fonzie smack it. But we're back. We didn't have to lose too much time. There we go. I'm sure it's just one, you know, old solder point on the cable to the board, the little board that's in the camera. I bet you it's just bad because it's like I move it around so much and it's so old. This camera's like 5 years old, but it works better than I mean, I've not even been able to find even expensive, I say that, expensive USB cameras that have all been garbage. All right, look at that. Everything's straightened up. We're still alive. We've still got... We've still got pictures and video. Amazing. Let me get this. This one looks like it's a little... like, not right. There we go. Like a little... sunk a little bit through. Did I? Oh, sorry, Enrico. Did you make the marks on the capacitors? I made the black marks with the Sharpie on the capacitors. I did. If you're asking me that question, I go behind there and I kind of explained that I make a mark on every capacitor that I've checked out. And I'll document all this stuff. Like, I'll take pictures of all these, like everything after I finish it and clean it. I took pictures before I removed the capacitors, and then after removing them, and then after replacing them. I'm also going to look at the bottom board here closer after I clean it. Make sure that nothing looks dodgy. That's all for those capacitors done. See? I've made all those. That's all our section down here. Let's go through. Number 204 is 5010. So is that one 5010, 5010, 5010. So we got 204 and 207. 212, 247, 202, 4.7. Remember that one? The Lone Ranger down here. There we go. All right, there's only a couple more left. This one is an awkward spot, though. So I'm going to get this guy right here. And then I'm going to get this guy right here. And then there's a bundle of 3. Can you see him down there? Look at that, right under that cable. So actually, maybe I should do that bundle of 3 before I stick that 4th one right there in. So it'll give me some room maybe to stick those others in there. For that, we're going to do C15, which is a 5047. Lots of 50 volt 47 capacitors on this board. Rubicon, right over here. Going right in there. Just making sure I'm still alive. If you want to know what tools I use a combination of tools just to verify things. This is one of the instruments that I've used for years for. It's called the GME test instrument, and it gives you, this is literally the box I got it in. This is GME. In-circuit ESR capacitor tester. So you run around with this and you put the red leg on the capacitor. It's powered on. You discharge your capacitors, of course. You have to discharge all of them before you test it, okay? So then you can run around and put the negative lead here, the positive lead here, turn this guy on to ESR. And it runs on battery or 9-volt DC power supply if you have that instead. And then you're just going to hit up a capacitor. Down here it gives you a range. And this will test up to a 2.2 or, 2200 microfarad capacitor. See? And if it, like, pings in the red, any dead caps on here? Where's the ones from this? So, like, this should read something that would be out of spec. Let's show you. So you take this, now you could test this out of circuit like it is, or you could test it while it's still on the board. You see this one's reading here 0.3 ohms, 4, 0.4, 0.3, 0.3, 0.4. Right? See, it's a 1000 microfarad. So that's up here in the getting bad zone. So that's like, okay, let's replace this guy. So I'll do that. I use this one a lot. I like it. I also have this one, which sometimes works in circuit. It's just a little bit more, it's bulkier. It takes a little bit longer to set up. But you can also use it. It has another attachment. Same style thing. You put an attachment down here, and it gives you a wand just like this with a positive and negative, and you can test capacitors in circuit, or you can remove them and test them. And sometimes then when I'll remove it, I like to even pop it in this guy, right? This is just a parts tester, so like you could stick the legs of this right here and get an even higher, I feel like this is giving me a way more accurate reading, even though it's probably the cheapest tool I have. But you have to remove it. This is obviously not in circuit. Let's see what this says. So this is actually giving me like an ESR of 0.72. This will give me a better reading, obviously, than this. This is more like on the fly, quick stuff. And again, works good in circuit. Now you saw where it gave me a reading of like 0.4, and here I'm getting 0.72 ohms, which is even higher. Now you can tell it's still within spec at 9.39. Oh, I pushed it knocked it out of the holder. Short legs, But this one's really helpful, especially if like you pull apart. This will test multiple parts and tell you what it is and what it's supposed to do, and get like there. See? So it's still technically within the 20% spec on capacitance, but you're starting to get up on your ESR and your ohms, and that is only going to go up from now on. And you're just gonna see this capacitor get worse and worse and worse as time and usage continues. So that's kind of and I even have more tools. This is my favorite multimeter that I've ever bought. Of course, it's like $200, I think. It's pretty expensive, but it's Fluke. There ain't no fluke about the Fluke. The Flukes are good. Real deal. Man, I almost had my iron sitting down here. Okay. Good. I should just do some parts videos or some tools videos. And I'd like to sit down again. I just need to get more, unfortunately, time, right? This week was spring breaks. The kids were home all week. I finally have both of them out of the house today for over at family and friend's house. And that's why I've had some time to just do an impromptu live stream. And this is a project I'm openly working on for a client. Oh, okay. Oh, got a message here. Let's see if it's anything important. Yeah, I need to send some messages back here in a second. Take a break after this one. For a second, and I'll respond to some family matters. Because when you have kids, yeah, you always got to be mindful of, oh, is your kid acting crazy? Did your kid get in trouble today? All right, cool. So like I said, we're going to have 4 more here. The final 4. Our final 4 is, see, 8, 9, 11, and 18. All 4 up here. See how tight those are. Think that's bad? Wait till you see the other side. Stefan, yes, that's a good deal. If it's working, it's a good deal. I would buy that because then I could restore it and then offer it to somebody, because that's the kind of price that I think's very fair for a working one. Of course, it also is going to depend where you're at. Some areas the CRTs are worth more than others. All right, I'm just checking out C15 here. Just down there. Right spot, right cap. Let's check it off the list. And we're down to the final 4, I said. So I want to get under here and try to... I tried to pop this out, but I'm afraid that this plastic on this switch is more likely to break than safely pop out of the housing here. So what I'm going to try to do is just work the capacitors underneath down there. But let me respond to a message real quick from my family. All right. All right. All right. There we go. Excellent. Caught up. Thankfully the camera's working. Yeah, I mean, disgusting, big deal, right? Clean it. I like the 53 series. I mean, it's a great monitor. It's medical, so you get the extra... It has the extra line input on the input board, so you can have component and RGB going into it. It also has a great service menu. Lovely, lovely CRT. One of my favorites. Let's go see. I want to get down that hardest one is C18. 5047. Gosh, that one's going to be kind of awkward. Let's see. Oh, this one's fun. If you played Operation as a kid, you would excel at this job. If you're really good at it, right? Or if you had small hands. Oh man, that would be nice. I can't get this one down in there. My hands are too big. Just get it down in there. Probably gonna have to try to. It's like, and this is dodgy too, because it could slip right out of that. I can't even see it that well. If I can get some more. Ugh. Might not be able to get it. Let me get some more light down in here. I mean, that is a difficult one. See it? Right under there, you can barely even see it. Might have to get these cables out. Let's see. Can safely bend that resistor. Okay. This is the kind of thing stick in here and actually sticking upside down, like the wrong polarity or the wrong part. This is fun. Yeah. I don't know. I have to try. I'm gonna have to try to get this button out because I can't get my fat sausage hands in there. Just partially. There we go. Mario Brother Mitts for the win. Oh, look at all that space. Look at all that lovely real estate. Gosh, what a mess. Fat hands. My fat fingers still are too fat to get down in there. Oh, should not. This is gonna like make me. Grow up. One done. One done down in there. One pushed in. Let's go for that one next to it. C11. It's a 50 volt 10. Hey, yo, Chico, get your stupid capacitor down in there, Chico. Oh, hey, yo. You're messing with the bad guy now. Come on. Look at this stupid tweezer set. Doesn't even want to touch together. Ooh, baby. C11. Look at that. It's so cute down in there. That's an even worse one, right? Worse accent. I'm not an impressionist. C9. Man, this is an odd one. 16 volt 470? Really? 10 volt 470. I don't know that I have anything that small. I might have to go 25. 25 volt 470. Yes, we're going to go Rubicon 25 volt 470. We're going to upgrade here for C9. Sure, all those are, yes, they're all the right way. All the right moves here. There we go. We're going to do these three and then we'll move on to our final capacitor. Final. The champion. C8 is our champion. Board champion is C8. Congratulations. We'll see what the value is there on C8. The final capacitor. Isn't it? It's like such a great feeling to be on that last capacitor. Wonderful. Wonderful. Here we go. Ooh. Let's get a little bit. A little too much on that one. Looks like a little too much juice on that. All right, great. Flip them over and look at them again. All right, everything's looking good. 3 good caps there. Then our last one, I'm going to snap this guy back. There, power button. And we're down to 50 volt 47. That makes sense. It's the most common one in this board. It's almost complete. You want to know the bad thing though? There's like, not bad thing, but there's what? We'd have the deflection board to go. There's an input board to go. And an overload board. So there's three more major boards to get through on this BVM. All right. Take our last capacitor. C8 right down in there. How's that weld looking? It's pretty good. Right there. Good to go. How's this jazz going? It's getting quite jazzy. All right. You're looking good. I don't know what, like, it's so funny. The camera's working flawlessly now. I'm out of coffee. Thought I brought some water out here, but must not have had it. I'm gonna get, let's see. Okay, everything looks good on the list. Just gonna make sure everything is checked off here. Everything looks good in here. One of the things that I just like to hold it up to the sky. Make sure I see no holes. I'm looking for holes in case I forgot to solder something. Light to pass through. which I didn't, thankfully. And we've QC'd everything. So what we're going to do is clean it. Shut the power off on the soldering tools. Get some of this stuff out of the way. Go there. Here. All right. Customer will get like reports of all this information, all this lovely information. We can figure out what is happening over time with these lovely machines. The most insane research the world has ever thought to fund. All right. Right there. There. And now, when I clean them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the workshop camera. What I'm going to do is on the cleaning, I'm going to clean this back board. All right, baby. Hold it together. Hold it together. You could do it. I feel like my arm's about to break on this camera too. Like, first the camera will go bad, then the camera's arm will fall. Isopropyl. Here's my wind machine. Isopropyl. Toothbrush. We'll need a towel. We're gonna need a towel here. All right, 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Then we're gonna come back here and do this. We're gonna clean this. Well, hey. Hey there, little buddy. Did you come to say hello? Did you come to say hello? People will want to see you. Oh, no. Let's see what we got. Oh, can you even see yourself up there? Look at that dog. What's that dog doing? What's that doggy doing? Oh, no. Who is that doggy? What? Who is that doggy? Who is that doggy? Did you know that Cole can speak? Who is that? Do you want to say hello to everybody? Say hello? Not right now? Cole thought I was leaving when I went out the door, so that's why he was scared. Look at him. You can barely see him on the camera. Who is that doggy? Oh, yeah, such a good boy. All right. Good to see you. You can go back to taking your nap. Yeah. Oh, yeah, nothing to worry about. I'm great. There we go. Feeling good. We're going to get this board cleaned off now. Gonna give a little bath. I'm gonna do... I need to kind of lean this a little bit. Let's use this coffee mug. The dog has done nothing. Like, gone for 2 walks, and now he's just so tired. Yeah. Hard life. Here we go. So, just dribbling some alcohol all over that board. And we're just gonna start with some lovely brush strokes. Happy little brush strokes. As we are doing basically a once over down here. You don't want to mess your toothbrush up too much, because I mean, you got to use it later to brush your teeth, right? Maybe this is my wife's toothbrush. I can't remember. Sometimes just like do that. Get a lot of that gunk out of there. You have to do that a couple times. Doing like a circular motion a little bit. I think that kind of works better. It'd be nice to have the world's biggest ultrasonic cleaner, but that would cost a lot of money, and it would use a lot of that fluids, a lot of fluids to clean it. So it just, oh man, it would just cost a ton more to do it that way. The costs would outweigh probably benefit to it. Especially when you can do it like this for such a low price. Now that that's all done, I'll take this towel on him here. Pat off all this. We're gonna get a bunch of residue, probably. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but more than likely we'll have as this evaporates. Get some dust, residue. Let's take this horsehair brush on wood that's non-static. Rub that towel in there and give it a little rub-a-dub-dub to get a lot of that surface level alcohol mixed with dirt off. And there we have it. Give it some compressed air. Okay, now I'm gonna flip her over and blow the inside out a little. And this is gonna need some drying, some good amount of drying before I really want to use it. break a camera. Well, my camera decided it didn't want to show you anymore of me doing that, didn't it? It's like, hey, Steve, no more cleaning, please. No more cleaning. Excellent. I don't think we'll need that anymore. I don't think we'll need the toothbrush. No, there's not, it wouldn't actually bust this thing if you were to throw it in there right now and use it, because that alcohol is not conductive, but it may not perform up to the correct standard because it's something, you know, isn't dried out and not making great contact, because it's still got some evaporating to do on the alcohol that I just put on there. Now I'm going to rub this over the, and this is going to get rid of any level of surface residue slash dust that may appear from that alcohol bath. Around the edges. And there we go. Right, now what I'll do is I'll go through here and just make sure some ESD safe tweezers, that nothing's really screwed up or anything. Right, we're gonna just inspect like welds again, make sure that everything's up to par and there's no trace damage, there's nothing shorting out. We don't want to have any issues, so we're going to give ourselves a little time to check things. And that all is looking good. Right here's one. No problem being thorough, you know, until you get supreme level wizard of CRT. So I don't even know, like, I don't even consider myself good enough to do this without checking anymore. I'm the one who accidentally overlooks stuff and makes mistakes, so I'd rather just personally take the extra time to make sure I haven't made a mistake, hopefully. Bing, bang, boom. Lovely. Everything's looking great. I don't see anything else on this board that, you know, from the look of things, needs servicing. It's just, I'm going to let it, I'm going to go put it in the drying. I have a drying fan, which is quite large. So I'm going to go put it on the drying fan. It's in the building next door. And then we'll come back, hang out, let it dry for a minute, and hopefully we can get a test run of it. Hey, Shema man, tube swap. Question from Stefan. Will higher TVL tube work in a PVM with lower TVL? Sony 54 tube and 4. I see. It's not always that simple. You have to make sure the pinouts match on the series tubes. I'm not sure about the 4 series matching the 50 series, okay? Those may be different tubes. The 50 series will match the M series, but you need to... best way to check is to compare the two neck boards, okay? Or the C board, the CRT socket board. It goes into the CRT itself. Those usually list the pins of what each color is. If the pins are the same, then the tube is probably compatible, okay? Or you're unlikely to damage it. But if the pinout's not the same, then don't even bother because it's not compatible. There's a lot of CRTs that can go... There's a lot of these things that can go in other monitors, and the line count doesn't determine it. The line count is a part of the CRT itself. It's just really, what works and what you never can tell. Like, or not you never can tell, but you just... It's a case-by-case basis a lot of the times. It's hard to blanketly say that on everything. Like, there's going to be rules in place depending on which monitor you're working on or CRT, whether the tubes are compatible or not. All right. I don't know. I mean, this doesn't look like it's wet or anything. Let me go over here to the main camera. You have any other questions about this or any other topics right now? Let's you guys give me a minute, and I will go set this up. I'm going to set it up in a wind tunnel that's going to literally just push air over it and dry it out completely. And then I think I've got the keys to that building. Yes, right here. And then I'll come back and we'll discuss it. All right. Hey, Cole. See, Cole gets scared every time I open the door that I'm leaving him for good, right? That's cooking in the wind. And I'm going to go get the frame for it. Hey. Got these pieces. Got the results of all the bad capacitors. And we've serviced this board. Really, the last thing I need to do is test it. Make sure that it's functioning. Hopefully. Because if not, then I did something wrong. But I think it's pretty good. Pretty standard. It's pretty good job we did there. Any questions over that recap? Right? Pretty standard stuff. Board 1, part 1. My plan is to come back and hopefully be able to work on this more over the next few days. So if you see some impromptu live shows, it's probably what we're going to be working on, and then we can check out some other things. Maybe I'll bring Zez along one time if he's available. So, any questions about that? Looks like I think we covered everything. We had some random topics come up with other CRTs. So, just chill while we're waiting for that. Oh, baby, let's see. Cool. So my plan, I've obviously been working around the shop. I'll show you guys what I've been working on. I ordered some new parts. I'm trying to get like a big load of RGB kits in here to try to be able to make them pretty, regularly and not have to worry about if I can get some from off Sector Sunthar's website. So I've been ordered a run of these things from Osh Park, and they're in the production facility right now being made, and hopefully soon I'll have kits here just to use on CRTs, because that's what I'm waiting. What? Gosh, Mark, what are we talking about? I can't remember. A picture with horizontal jitter issues. What was it? Was it the, was it that Sony FS100 or whatever? That might be what you're talking about, where it was shimmering, jittering a little bit. That's unfortunately just part of that design on the jungle chip or something, where voltage just bleeds through. Yeah, it was nothing. There's no way to fix that. I talked to some other people and they were like, yeah, that's just part of that television that knew more about it. Even though I tried to recap the whole thing. Hey, John. Yeah, you should be fine. I think the yokes are going to be okay. There's a couple of different versions of yokes, but I think you're going to be all right there. Those are the same tubes. Hopefully you just pop it in there and don't have any problem. There was another Sony. Actually, funny enough that you bring that up, Mark. The next video is covering a Sony. Let me see if I can find the restoration file photos for it, because I could show you that and not ruin the video. I think it's in here. KV. It's got its own dedicated folder. This is a 24 FV300, which I think has the exact same chassis. Yes, let's check this out. I'll pop this up, go through these file folders while we're waiting for that other one to dry. Look at some stuff. Again, this is the next video that's coming. It's literally it's mostly done. Let's see which one's best. This. Okay. It's mostly done. I just have a bonus section in the back end of the video that I need to film and finish hopefully over the weekend. And I can't really film it myself. I need to have somebody help me. You can tell this looks almost exactly the same, right? This is the 300, FV300, but it's the same chassis, BA6. Let's look at these restoration pictures. It's like the same looking chassis. There's the neck board. This one didn't seem to have the jitters as much, but it definitely had it a little bit. This is a different size, a little bigger. This is a cubing channel. I'm doing the 13 TR28 RGB mod. Well, here's what, honestly, to make it the easiest thing, you need to just use C-Sync, okay? Or composite sync. Just to make it easy on yourself. That's what I would do. All right, there's the tube number on that one. Sorry, I got off track there for a second. Tore down. This one does have velocity modulation. There's the remote that was sent with it. Decapped neck board, recapped. Solder reflow. There's the main chassis. Replace all the deflection and power capacitors in there. And no, there is not a documented RGB mod for this one, so you can't RGB mod it right now. I beefed up the capacitor some in the power zone just to, you know, hopefully make it last another 20 years. That's the board serviced. So everything put back together. And there's your lovely... Now here's, did install, it looks like a convergence strip there. And this is after that. I mean, these TVs, guys, even after servicing, these TVs are not going to be perfect. So look at this. I mean, I couldn't get it any better than this. If you get sit there and like want to judge and look super close, look at that. I mean, let's be honest, that's out of alignment. But it's up in the corner and it's like a 1/4 inch from the edge, and that's what these CRTs do. Unless you get a master level BVM, you may be able to get that. You should be able to get rid of that. Here's more better alignment at the center of the screen, at the top, and I mean, as you go down here, it's super aligned. This corner is better than the other corner, and that's what you'll get. But even there, look at that. Up in the top corner, you can see green, red above it, and then blue. Literally separation. But you can't see that with your human eye that close. Those corners are better. The center of this screen is, I mean, this is what you have to more or less concentrate on, is aligning these beams like this. See how they're white? Because there's a good alignment here. This is the center. You got no real separation vertically. Maybe a slight horizontal bleed over, and that could be the shimmer effect that we were talking about, Mark, when I took that picture. Good colors on this TV, man. This one really can achieve good colors and geometry for the most part. It has a really nice service menu, which I walked through. The sound system is improved on this set as opposed to the FS120. Looks really good, right? Look at that show. Look at that. I mean, that's component video on a serviced basic CRT consumer Trinitron. Look at that. There you go. Not the best, not the worst. Hey, welcome in, Whittles Vaughn. Thank you for joining for the first stream. That's awesome. Look at that. I mean, you get defined scan lines here, and this is not RGB, guys. This is component video. Right? Let's see if we can identify some separation up here. Look at this. So this is a real life situation. Look at that. You can see like that. Look at that. Look at that separation. That's what it looks like in real life up in the corner. You could drive yourself insane trying to make that better on a set like this, but if you make this correct, you're probably going to screw something up in the center, and it won't look as good there. Good TV. Oh man, look at that stuff. Look at this beam alignment. It's just a crappy cell phone picture. Man, that's awesome. Beautiful. There it is, all done. That's your little sneak peek on what's next, okay? Let me go back over here. I bet it's about time to get that off the I'll go get that board back. We'll go from there, all right? All right. All right. Looking good here. It's a back plate to mount on this, and then you screw it in. There's slots right here for this to all fit together nicely. Don't think that's the right way. There we go. Just like that. And now, stick these screws back in. Steve, you did if you're still there, I don't know. You did yeah. I know you're talking about it in the chat, but I know you did a video on that TV, which is awesome. Not too long ago. It's a good one. I mean, I think that everybody gets so caught up in the FV310, which, you know, technically it is a nicer CRT. It has a few more features. It has, of course, the smallest one you're going to get in that is a 27-inch. But you know, a lot of those other ones are overlooked because the FV310 is such one that everybody goes for. So they don't look at the 300. They don't look at the 120s as much. Those are good TVs too. I definitely would say that I could tell that the 300 seemed like a better television than the 100. Even though they're the same chassis design. Goodness, I dropped the screw. I dropped the screw. Come on, baby. Get in that little hole down there. There we go. That one's a little tricky. Again, get it down in the corner under all those cables. If this will do this without exploding. Let's see. I'm just mounting the screws in the corners here. There's another spot right there. Now, you know what I didn't do is I didn't take pictures. So let me take some pictures. Of course, I'll reference this stream on camera in the file for the customer, but I did not actually take any pictures of everything. Before I close it all up, I want to do that. There we go. Ooh, yeah, sexy baby, take your pictures. Sexy pictures for the man. Give me some sexy CRT pictures. I'm too sexy for my flat screen, too sexy for my plasma, too sexy for my sleeves. Ah, come on. Tiny little screws in the corners. Oh, where did that one even... Really, where did you go? I mean, I waste more time sitting here trying to put these things back together than anything else. Don't like to use magnets. Except to fix convergence. Impurity. Oh, you little bugger. Look, this one may be a little magnetized. Come on, give me... Oh. How many times is Steve gonna screw up with a screw? Man, not getting it. Look at it just floating. Alright, don't leave me now. Don't leave me. You leave me now. Take away the biggest part of me. Ooh, oh, baby. Baby, please don't go. Ooh, child, I just want you to stay. All right. Man, the D14s are crazy. They're closer to like a L series BVM. I've worked on them. You got to kind of try to isolate your problems. I don't know. I mean, there is a cap kit. If you're getting like power into it, the boards are isolated in the same way I kind of discussed earlier, where you can get in and you can kind of find shorts, at least like narrow them down to which board has the short in it. So it really depends on your issues. But if it sounds like you have a vertical deflection issue, then I'd check the deflection. I need to get the last screw here. Where are you, last screw? This is going to be the fun corner. Let's see if we can get it down in there. Ooh, we really did. It's too quick. There we go. All right. Really, only thing left to do is cover it all up. Got a little buildup of like dust right there. That should be it. BVM's next door. So I'll pop it in there and let you know if it's working. If it is, I'll try to take a picture of it and upload it or bring it to the screen. Okay? Okay, I'm going to go next door, take it, test it. That's going to take me a minute. So when I do that, I wonder if there's something I could put up here on the screen so it's not just such a boring picture of nothing while I do this. All right. I'll give you some more information about that other one. I actually found some video clips. We can watch those together after, and it's all about the BVM that's in the frame. I told you we'd talk about it, so we can go for that next. We can look at that. Let me see here. This is what I'm talking about. Bam, my own picture over there on the left. All right, let's move. This over here. This is what I'm talking about. 139,000 hours on this BVM, and that's not a fib. It's crazy. We'll see what I have on the footage from it, because it's actually from the old shop, the one that I moved out of from before here. So we'll have to see what the condition and everything is looking like there. And before that, I'm gonna go get this BVM ready. Hang in there, folks. We'll see what happens. Let's go take the card next door. All right, this BVM is extremely heavy, like not as easy to move around. Wait a second, I'll be back with it. Me now. Oh, it's initializing, right? All right. Well, I mean, good news. Everything's fine. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. I had, again, I can't pull that over. I'm going to upload a couple of shots of this. I'm going to email it to myself and then I'll send it. I'll send it and I'll put it on the screen. You can see it. There we go. Send. Just have to wait for the... There we go. Okay. Here we go. Want to see some pictures? Let's look at them. Let's check it out. Not a lot to see, but we're going to have something here. Call it the good stuff. Gmail. Excellent. Here we go. Live, folks. I just took these pictures. Let me go over to this. This is a test screen that's built into the BVM if you have a control unit with it. So if you have this bottom control unit either installed in the unit like this or separately, you can pull up this test screen. And this is like, I mean, I just took this photograph, okay? You can pull up this test screen and it's channel 95. So you go down there, right down there, and press 0, 9, 5. And it'll hit channel 95 and it'll bring up this pattern that's built in. There's like 4 or 5 other patterns in here. But that's it. Power, no problem. No overload. Came on normal sequence. There it is, right there. There's where Cole's sleeping on the bed somewhere back there. So that's it. Yeah, Zez will be on here sometime too. Whittles Vaughn. He just hadn't come on here today. I didn't even tell him I was streaming, which is kind of sad. Should have. But I just didn't know if I was even going to stream. So there we go. We got part 1 done. The power supply board is all the way done. The other boards that I have to do, man, I keep forgetting. There's a deflection board. See? There's this deflection board right here, which is this card right here. I have to do that deflection board, which is 2 boards, actually. There's daughter boards on there, 2 of them. Then I need to do the video processing board, which is this one. Right here. Now, I don't have to really do much on this ISR board. I'll check it. And I'll probably check these other 2 boards. But these 2, the ISR board has to be on the monitor. But these other 2 boards are optional. So I don't know. Like, those are just optional boards This one's noisy, awful. This 41 HD, I don't like it. Does do component, but it also runs HD SDI, which is off of a chip in here that gets so hot. This thing just sounds like a jet engine. So we'll see. I'm not sure what the client wants to do with all of this. I just know that I'm going to work on the deflection board and this card. And then there's an internal board on the side that I can't show you, but should check it out too. So it's a pretty deep monitor, lots of hardware to give you, I mean, this image really, this amazing, like, it's a pretty good example of the geometry and everything. You're not going to get like color separation at all in this CRT compared to the one we saw a second ago on that standard Sony. So that's it. All right, everybody, that is like a full 2-hour session of working on a power supply, showing you kind of how I do it, how I did it today, and the results are working, thankfully. Appreciate your time, and thanks for hanging out with me. I promise to do some more streams coming up. If you're interested in getting in the queue to have a CRT restored, looked at, whatever, having something like this done to it in the shop, please feel free to check out the description and join the Patreon. That's how you get CRT work done. I appreciate everybody. I know there's most people in the chat and that hang out on the regular already on that Patreon. I really hugely appreciate you guys' support there. Thank you all. I'm glad that we actually got to get through this whole stream with the malfunctions. It's always something. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.